Hello, friends. A very good evening. Welcome to this beautiful session of audit documentation, which we were discussing in our earlier classes. And we were on topic external confirmation, which I discussed. I briefed about it, and now I'm just going to make it more, clear, make it more simplified to be understandable to you all in a better manner. I hope the last class was clear to you in a better and in a clear manner. This topic, external confirmation, mainly, what does it comprise of? External confirmation, as I discussed earlier in my last class, dealt with the kind of responses the auditor takes from the third parties, or you can say, if if I try to broaden the third parties, then the third parties would basically include the lenders, the bankers, the shareholders. All these people, they comprise external confirmation. All these people comprise the external parties, or maybe the lawyer, or maybe the legal counsel. So in this case, external confirmation, if I talk about SA 500, it basically covers external. It completely covers external confirmation. And this essay has been formulated in order to ensure, in order to keep it in mind that whatever statements, whatever assertions are being taken from the third parties, they are all appropriate. They are in license with whatever the company is saying, whatever the organization is delivering, whatever information the enterprise is giving to the auditor. So they should be in synchronized. They should be synchronized. So in SA 505, basically, like SA 500, sorry, I quoted the wrong SA for external confirmation. It's SA 505, and SA 500 is for audit evidence. So audit evidence, basically, it becomes more reliable, it becomes more trustworthy when it is obtained from the other sources, like from outside the entity, when it is obtained, and then it is verified with the internal people, or internal sources within the company, or maybe within the enterprise. So audit evidence is more reliable when it is obtained from the other sources. Secondly, audit evidence, if it is obtained directly by the auditor, it will have more value, it will carry more reliance, it will carry more features, rather than obtaining it through any other source or any other intermediary. So it will carry much weight if it is obtained directly by the auditor. Objective, if I talk about the objective, then the main goal of external confirmation is to perform such procedures to obtain relevant and reliable audit evidence. Auditor needs to perform such procedures, such functions, so that whatever evidence is obtained, with whatever evidence is gathered, it's relied upon. It is easily relied upon. External confirmation is, what does it exactly mean? It's a kind of statement which response taken from third party, which I've explained to you earlier. Now there are some classification of this particular topic. What kind of confirmation request can be seen in today's world? If you undergo any of such requests during the audit, first is positive. Positive confirmation request is when the party directly tells the auditor whether they agree or disagree with a particular information. Negative is when the confirming party is only responding to the auditor in case when it is disagreeing, or when it is not approving the information. Non-response is when the party is has failed to respond. It's not responding, or it's not giving any kind of answer. Exception is the response which indicates that there is a difference between whatever information has been requested, or which is contained in the records, and whatever information has been provided, whatever information auditor requires, and whatever information the party is giving, there is a difference if there is a difference, if it carries a variation, then in that case exception is generated. And then I told you all to just go through the illustrations, and after that we had to start with the confirmation procedure. Now if I talk about the confirmation procedure, auditor basically will maintain control, will basically look into its request, including determining the information to be confirmed, whatever information has been requested. He'll try to analyze it, and then after that he'll be selecting the appropriate party, the appropriate confirming party, who is going to give the response to the auditor. Like for example, the auditor has selected the bank will be giving the response for will be giving the information for all the loans running against the company or against any enterprise. Bank will be responsible to give the response, and then designing the request, how to request them, how to ask for the information, and then sending the request. This way the procedure is carried out. And after that, whatever information is there to be confirmed or whatever information is to be requested, the auditor has to evaluate it. Auditor and the third party will be analyzing the terms of agreement, the contract, the transaction, whatever are happening between the entity and other parties. Okay. So all these things whichever I have discussed in these 4 points, these have been elaborated one by one, like determining the information to be confirmed, selecting the appropriate confirming party. Now appropriate confirming party means who will be giving the information, whomsoever the auditor has selected will be providing that so and so information. Designing confirmation request. Okay, how the request will be formulated in order to get the response from the third party, and what are the factors which are to be considered while designing. First of all, the auditor needs to cater to the risk which may be involved in the financial statements, how much material they are, how much significance they are. Then the presentation, how will it be laid out, how the request will be laid out. He'll be, going through his prior engagements, prior audits he has conducted and asked for the confirmation request, how the assertions were addressed, and so on. And the most important thing is the soft skills, the communication. It should be in such a way that the other person or the third party is able to understand it in a more precise and clear manner. After that is management authorization or encouragement. Management will be encouraging. If the management is showing his or her interest, that yes, he is showing his or her interest to the auditor, that yes, you may ask any kind of detail you want from the third party. And management is showing his interest to the auditor. In that case, only the party will be responding. And then the party will be giving the required requested information. Follow-up is very much important while asking for the external confirmation. In that case, the auditor may send an additional confirmation request, like if he feels like after studying the request, after studying the confirmation, he feels that they may not be sufficient, they may not be adequate enough to support his audit evidence. In that case, he may ask for more evidences, more information. But in that case, if the management is refusing to allow the auditor to send a request, what will the auditor do in that case? The auditor will inquire from the management why is he refusing. He'll ask for audit evidence, and then he'll be evaluating what would be the results of his refusal, what would be the consequences of his refusal, and then after that he'll be performing the alternative audit procedures. If the auditor is concluding that yes, management refusal to allow him to send a request is unreasonable, then in that case he will have to without any doubt perform audit procedures, another set of audit procedures, and he may also qualify his report. that he was being forced to, he was being restricted to obtain the external confirmation. And then we have the illustration which you have to study, and what comes is the result of the external confirmation. If the auditor feels like obtaining the request, obtaining the confirmation is giving rise to doubts, is getting confused about whatever responses have been received. Now, in that case, the auditor will look into the matter and will try to find out evidences, will try to resolve the matter so that the doubts are cleared. And if the auditor is determining that a response is not reliable, he'll be evaluating its results. He'll be, analyzing the future consequences. What can happen, like if it is giving rise to doubts and the doubts are not being resolved, then what shall be done? If even the audit procedures have been defined, alternative methods have been used, and the risk of fraud is, major, then what shall be done? What can be done in that case? The auditor will have to analyze in that, situation. Then we have negative confirmations. Negative confirmations, like they provide less audit evidence than positive. The auditor will never use negative confirmation, as an audit evidence. And in that case, when there are risks associated in the organization and the companies, or maybe the third parties are giving responses which may not be up to the mark, which may give rise to a lot of differences, which may create differences, which may give rise to such news or such information which the company has kept secret from the auditor. Maybe that will give rise to n number of reasons why the company did that, or what was the reason behind the company, why did it hide it from the financial users, or maybe the public. So in that case, the negative confirmation will in that case the auditor will have to go through it in a detailed manner, in a very serious manner, and be rational in that, very rational in that, while taking decisions about the negative confirmations. Then we have evaluating the evidences obtained. In that case, the auditor will evaluate the results, whatever the results are there, they are adequate, they are complete or not, or further audit procedures are required or not. Now, this topic is ended. Our next topic is initial audit engagement, where we'll be discussing about what an auditor needs to do when he initiates an audit, when he starts with an audit. First of all, he goes with the opening balances. He checks the opening balances. And initial audit engagement means what happens is, mainly the priority is checking the opening balances. Opening balances means the balances of the current year shall be verified with the closing balances of the last year, the last financial year. Maybe the auditor would be different in the last or in the previous financial year, then also the statements will be verified. This is what this topic is going to imply. Now, what are the objectives of the auditor and how the procedures will be carried out? This will be discussed in the next class. Till now, if you face any query, please mention me on the comment box. And if you like the video, do not forget to share and subscribe. You can also message me on my Instagram page by the name Srijyoti Tutorial. So that's all for today. In the next class, we'll be discussing about the opening balances.